Gopijana Girivarajari Yasodandana Rajajana Nanda Yasodandana Rajajana Yamunachya Yamunatira Madhava Kunja Vidhati Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vidhati Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Supat Brahmamsa Parivrajacharya Sutta Samad Isi Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपी गो श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड की गोवर्धन की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। अंतरा श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Shake it this one. Om Jnanatimirandasya Janandana Sudakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Tadayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pirikamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Srirupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sativam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakantam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tata Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Anjakalpataru Vishya Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Prabhudeepyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you for coming for this evening's Bhagavad Gita class. I hope you will not feel that your time has been wasted. We are going to read from the 18th chapter. Chapter is called The Perfection of Renunciation. And today's text 62. Now we have the verse on the board. Please repeat after me. Tam sharanam gaccha sarva bhavina bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapshyasi shashvatam tamiva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavina bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapshyasi shashvatam Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavina bharata tat prasadat param shanti. Sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. Tameva sharanam cha. Sami Bharata. Tat prasadat param shantim. Sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. Tameva saranam kasya. Sarva bhavina bharata. Tat prasadat param shantim. Sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. Tameva sharanam gaccha. Sarva bhavina bharata. Tat prasadat param shantim. Sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. Tameva sharanam gaccha. Sarva bhavina bharata. Tat prasadat param shantim. Sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. Tam unto him eva certainly sharanam gaccha. Surrender sarva bhavina in all respects. Bharata, O son of Bharata, Tat Prasada, by his grace, Param, transcendental, Shantim, peace, Sthanam, the abode, Prapsasi, you will get Shashvatam, eternal. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. O scion of Bharata, I think that's how it's pronounced, scion. Surrender unto him utterly. By his grace, you'll attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Please repeat after me. O scion of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A living entity should therefore surrender unto the supreme personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart, and that will relieve him from all kinds of miseries of this material existence. By such surrender, not only will one be released from all miseries in this life, but at the end he will reach the supreme God. The transcendental world is described in the Vedic literature, Rig Veda 1:22-20, as Tat Vishnu Paramam Padam. Since all of creation is the kingdom of God, everything material is actually spiritual, but Paramampadam specifically refers to the eternal abode, which is called the spiritual sky or Vaikuntha. In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sanivishto. The Lord is seated in everyone's heart. So this recommendation that one should surrender to the super soul sitting within means that one should surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna has already been accepted by Arjuna as the Supreme. He was accepted in the 10th chapter as Param Brahma, Param Dhamma. Arjuna has accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the supreme abode of all living entities, not only because of his personal experience, but also because of the evidence of great authorities like Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa. Tamiva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavana bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapshasi shashvatam. O sign of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. So that is, you can say, the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. We are coming here to the end of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is rounding up his instructions to Arjuna and also summarized in a few verses ahead in the famous verse, Sarvadharman parijajamamikam sharanam vaja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mukshayishami ma suchaha. So Krishna is again and again he's proposing, he's encouraging us we should surrender to him. Why we should surrender to Krishna? There are many reasons. There's every reason. We have to surrender to somebody, something. If we don't make a conscious choice to surrender, then material energy will force us to surrender to birth, death, old age, and disease. There's that we cannot avoid. So the conclusion should be: if I have to surrender, then I should, you know, use my intelligence where or to whom to surrender. That is actually what if you want to give a short description of what is intelligence, what is the purpose of intelligence. It is really to make a of intelligent choice whom to surrender to. Given that we have to surrender, uh, we should now try to understand how that to whom, what will give us the greatest benefit. We shouldn't just surrender blindly just because we have to. In the next verse, Krishna encourages Arjuna. He says, now I've explained you everything, and think about it, and then make your own decision. He doesn't say, Krishna doesn't tell Arjuna, you just surrender because I say so. He says, no, he gives plenty of reason why Arjuna should surrender. But then at the end he says, do as you like. yatechasi tata kuru. Now you decide, you deliberate. He said, he says, thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully, and then do what you wish to do. Hmm. Yeah. So that is, Krishna is very liberal. He has given us a little independence, and he's not going to take it away. Uh, that independence is, you can say, the birthright of at least every living entity in the human form. In the animal form, they are not, they don't have much independence. They basically are forced by the modes of material nature to act in a certain way. If you're born in the body of a dog, let us say, you cannot decide, I'm going to be a peaceful dog. I'm not going to bark. Uh, I, I, I will chant Hare Krishna. They don't have that facility. There are examples, well, but these are exceptions. The free will is given to every living entity, but it's especially exercised, or we especially get the chance to exercise that free will in the higher forms, especially in the human form of life. Uh, so that free will is really what it boils down to, is that we have the freedom to choose if we are going to surrender to Krishna or to Krishna's external energy, to the modes of nature, to the process of birth and death in this material. So, so we should think about it and make a wise decision. Krishna he gives many good reasons. Uh, he offers us, I think in the ninth chapter, he offers a deal. He gives us a deal. He says that uh, to those who are, how is it? To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with faith. No, that's not that's another one. But he says, if you serve me, I have, I have to find it. Uh, he says, Yoga Kshema Bahami. If you worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, yeah, that's something like that. I will carry what you beg and preserve what you have. So that's a deal. We always worried about uh, 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 losing what we have and acquiring our necessities of life, our yoga and our kshema, our protection, our 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 prosperity, and so on. But Krishna says, "You surrender to me, and I will I will take care of all this." Yeah, here it is, 922. Ananyas chintayantu mam ye jana paripasate tesham nityapi yuktanam yogakshemam vahami. For those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. That's the deal that Krishna is offering, and and it's a good deal. I mean, uh, we just have to become devotees of Krishna. And Krishna says, he says, exclusive devotion. Uh, what is the, uh, he uses the word abhiyuktanam, fixed in devotion. Uh, yeah, we, 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 we should not worry about anybody else or anything else. Ultimately, we should simply dedicate our lives to serving and worshiping Krishna. Krishna says, if you do that, I will take care of you in all. I will preserve what you have, and I will carry what you lack. So now that is surrender, and naturally, you know, we might have some doubts if it sounds good, but how can I be sure that Krishna will fulfill his promise? Well, there's a good reason to trust Krishna, but still there may be some hesitancy. And but we should, I usually say, we should give Krishna a chance to show that we can trust him. Uh, Unless we have to be have this willingness to take a risk. Uh, Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Uh, there's always a risk involved in anything we try to do in this world, any any project we embark on, any endeavor. Uh, so also in devotional service, we have to there has to be some we have to be a little courageous and be willing to take a risk. Let me okay, Krishna is giving this promise and he's making this condition. So I'm a little doubtful that if it's, if Krishna is gonna. But let me fulfill Krishna's condition. Let me do my part, and then see what Krishna does. Uh, he will cheat me. I'm not exactly sure, but I will not know unless I give Krishna a chance to show that I can trust him. Uh, so that's a little dangerous. It's a little scary, but it's also very exciting because uh, the chances are that Krishna will actually he will fulfill his promise, and if he does so, that's very nice. And we like I said, you don't achieve anything. There's a risk involved in anything we try to do. So we should be a little courageous, and we should take that risk and uh, surrender to Krishna, take up devotional service wholeheartedly, and see what Krishna will do. Uh, we have so many anxieties about, just like now I'm in anxiety. I'm supposed to go back to Europe tomorrow, but there's a war in the Middle East, and there's been some disruption in the air traffic. So, will I be able to go, or will I have to sit and wait in some airport for hours and hours? And I'm not. It seems like it will work out, but I cannot be 100% sure. So I'm a little in anxiety, and that's the nature of material life. This is one of the first things that happens when the conditioned soul leaves Krishna's association in the spiritual world and comes here, as it is stated in the, I think, 11th canto, Dvayam Dvitiya Biniveshata Shat Ishat Papitasha Viparya Smriti. The first thing that happens when we come to this material world, when we turn away from Krishna, we become overwhelmed by fear. Because this material world is a dangerous place. It's, as Ravinder Swarup put it, it's radically insecure. It's actually, as also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, padam padam yad vipadam. There's danger at every step. And naturally, one there is some fear, and but if we know that Krishna is taking care of us, then we can actually become fearless. Uh, there's so many, but it's a little tricky because uh, you know we 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 we, we understand that surrender. We cannot surrender to Krishna directly. We surrender to Krishna by surrendering to his devotee. Prabhupada also stressed that many times and was basing it on Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on that Bhagavad Gita verse, Vyavasayatmika Di Ikaha Kurunandana uh, Buddhayo how is it? Hmm. Uh, Bahushaka, that's how it starts. Yeah. Bahushaka Yanandasta. Uh, yeah. Those who are, yeah, no, that's the last part. He start, yeah. Those who are on this path, they are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. Those who are, who's in, those who are not on this path, those who are irresolute, their intelligence, Krishna says, is bahushaka, it's many branched. Uh, so in his commentary on that verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he states, what is this Vyavasayatmika buddhi? It means that you accept the instruction of your spiritual master as your life and soul. Uh, you make this your purpose in life to carry out the instruction you have received from spiritual master. And that is actually, that became what could be said when Prabhupada read that commentary. It was a defining moment in his life because then he understood that the instruction that he had received from his spiritual master, from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, on their very first meeting, and also actually as the very last communication he had with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta by mail, the letter he got from him shortly before Bhaktisiddhanta passed away from this world, that he should preach this message of Krishna consciousness to the people of the world, specifically to the English speaking. Why English speaking people? Because he was, you know, as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati remarked on their first meeting, he was an educated young man. So, in other words, he spoke English. Uh, I came to understand that all higher education in India is English medium. So everybody, all professionals in India, they at least know some English by necessity. So Prabhupada, he had attended, he had, you know, he had gone to Scottish Churches College, so he knew some English, and therefore, and somehow Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he could understand that. I don't know exactly how, but he was, of course, very sharp, so he understood that, and that was the reason for giving that instruction. And Prabhupada, when he read that commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, then he understood that instruction. If that's, I should make that my purpose in life to fulfill that instruction. That will bring me all success. And it was proven, life proved that he was right. Uh, so, of course, um, unfortunately, um, those of us who didn't have the chance to serve Srila Prabhupada directly, we came after he left this world, and we took shelter of some of Prabhupada's followers, and some of us were a little disappointed because some devotees, some disciples of Prabhupada who took up that service as guru, they couldn't maintain it. They left the movement, and some people they became discouraged. So so some people they may after having maybe gone through that, they may wonder, is it really? Does it still hold true? This principle? And um, I think I can say, based on my own experience, that as long as as long as a devotee is dedicated to serving Srila Prabhupada's mission, then we can also uh, uh, surrender to him and follow his instructions, and we will achieve the same benefit as those who are directly serving Srila Prabhupada as his disciples. That's my experience from my own life, having been a disciple of somebody who later left movement. But I never, because I just tried my best to serve him and follow, his instructions, which were non-different from Prabhupada's instructions. Later he deviated, but as long as he was a transparent media of Srila Prabhupada, I feel I achieved the full benefit of by serving him. So, but it's always, like I said, it's a sensitive thing because surrender cannot be blind. Nobody's just gonna just somebody comes up on the street, you don't know that person, surrender to me. If you do that, you're a fool. We have to, and Krishna encourages, he tells Arjuna, you think about it. Prabhupada also, he says the same here in the purport to the verse for tomorrow, which Ghosh Thakur Prabhu is going to enlighten you about. He says, uh, 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 yeah, he says, before surrendering, one is free to deliberate on this subject as far as the intelligence goes. That is the best way to accept the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mm. Mm. And at one time, anyway, I'll just, the material world is full of stories, examples of people who were betrayed by those who they took shelter of, those who we can say they surrendered to. Surrender is typically a term that is used in warfare. You surrender when the enemy is, you know, is, has conquered, has defeated you. Then you put up the white flag. We surrender. Yeah. So, but often we find in warfare that the enemy is not going to be very compassionate to the to the to the soldiers who surrender. Sometimes they just kill them. There's even one. Actually, I'll tell you one story. It's a story that Prabhupada told on at least two occasions. It's from the First World War, um, and it's not very well known. I've never heard it from any other source. But Srila Prabhupada, he claimed that he heard it from a friend of his in Allahabad. I think his name was Macpherson. I think he was probably Scottish or something. And he had fought in the First World War. And he told Prabhupada a story from, not story, something which happened on the West Front during First World War, that there was fighting in north of France or Belgium, and there was a, a whole group of uh, women and children from Belgium, actually, who were they were fleeing from the German army, and they came to the French side and to take shelter, to surrender, to take shelter of what are supposed to be their friends. They, and they were the army was under the leadership of a very famous, actually the marshal who was the ultimate uh, directed the the West Allied armies to victory, Marshal Foch. It's a big statue of him in Paris. He was French. When these women and children they came to take shelter, uh, this Marshal Foch, he became very angry because he said, It's a war now. We cannot take care of them. You know, it's not possible." So what actually happened? You know what he did? He killed them all. Yeah, he killed them. Prabhupada said in one lecture, he said he blew them up. Uh, Another, he said they put guns four sides and they shot them. So such a horrible atrocity. Yeah, I never heard this, but it's of course very controversial. Yeah, and so this is a scary example of what you know in this material world, how so often uh, living entities are being betrayed by those who were supposed to protect them, and whom they try to surrender to. So yeah, one may naturally have some hesitancy when somebody if somebody asks you to surrender, and even in ISKCON we have some stories, and there's a very instructive story actually from relatively early on in our society in New York. Um, there was a temple president. I will not mention names now because he's kind of coming back to ISKCON actually, and but he was temple president in a New York temple, and he was a sannyasi. But then somehow he fell in love actually with a Japanese lady who was much older than him, who claimed to be the heir of the Toyota fortune. Uh, and he married her, and supposedly she was even initiated actually, and and she became like like a leader in the temple there, being married to the temple president, and it developed very strangely. It was even there are stories that non-vegetarian things were offered to the deity, uh, and things like that. And even many you don't believe, unbelievable, yeah. But that's what we hear, and it was so bad that after the whole thing was over, devotees they decided they should have an abhishek for the deity. Uh, uh, but anyway, um, Prabhupada's reaction to this whole thing is very interesting because on one side, when it was eventually exposed, this lady was exposed as a fraud. She was not the inherent, uh, uh, what is it called, heir of the Toyota fortune. And, of course, obviously, the temple president, he had to step down. And Prabhupada, after the whole thing came out, he, he, he on one side, he he commended the devotees. He actually expressed his appreciation, and even in such difficult a situation, they continued to serve and preach. And but on the other hand, he actually said you should not have followed this. And he said one thing that is quite interesting. He said one should never surrender his intelligence. He said that. Uh, and as I also said earlier on, that actually the we shouldn't surrender to us our we shouldn't surrender our intelligence, because we need the intelligence to understand where or to whom to serve. Uh, we shouldn't follow anybody blindly. We have to always, you know, because you know there's a world of cheaters and cheated, and if we don't, you know, Prabhupada said, he said another thing on something else. Actually, I know at least about two occasions where he said, you know, that ultimately we can only trust Krishna. Uh, everybody else, everybody in this world is going to cheat you. Uh, he made that point in one lecture I heard about. I didn't hear the lecture, but I heard about that. He made that point, and somebody, some disciple raised his hand and said, "But Prabhupada, we can trust you." And what do you think, Prabhupada? What was his reaction? He said, "No, I'm also going to cheat you. Only Krishna." Uh, Surprising, but you know, I think this a very beautiful. It really shows, you know, Prabhupada's great humility and his great honesty, that he that he said that, you know, that you know, don't even trust me, trust Krishna. So, okay, I usually say that, okay, if there's one instruction from Prabhupada we can disobey, that has to be the one. I trust Prabhupada. But why? Because he said that. Because you know, he didn't want anybody to forget about Krishna, and just, you know, he didn't want ISKCON to develop into a Prabhupada personality cult. Uh, and because why? Because, you know, if Prabhupada, you know, I think he knew that this is a danger, that we it's easier to, you know, become attached to a living guru, or you know, than to Krishna, because, you know, Krishna, we may feel a little distant. And but Prabhupada, he didn't want that. He wanted that we should learn to put our faith in Krishna. And naturally, those who tell us to have faith in Krishna, who direct us to surrender to Krishna, we have faith in them too. Um, uh, I would put it in this way, that faith is a relative thing. Uh, we cannot do anything. We cannot work with. We cannot be with anybody without trusting them to some degree. You know, if I don't have any, if I completely mistrust somebody, I will just stay far away from that person. We cannot, you know, we cannot be friends. We cannot, do anything together. So you know, just to do anything in this world, we have to have, you know, there has to be some basis of of trust. But that trust should is naturally something that is developed when we, like I said, I made the point that if we want to see if we can trust Krishna, we have to give him a chance to show. And I guess the same works for uh, other people also. You know, give them a chance to show that you can trust them. And then when they prove themselves trustworthy, naturally our faith increases. And in this way, uh, one naturally has different degrees of faith. And I would say, if there's ultimately, Prabhupada said we can only trust Krishna. But if there's somebody, then the one who comes next in terms of degrees of trust, it must be Prabhupada, because he said that. Uh, so, like that, um, uh, just like again the story from a New York temple. Uh, uh, Prabhupada said it. They should not have followed blindly this leader who was doing things that was obviously against, the teachings, Prabhupada's teachings, the injunctions of Scripture. So, yeah, we have to always, Prabhupada said also devotees should be independently thoughtful. That's an interesting expression also. We shouldn't forget to use our intelligence and try to understand who's who. And of course, the starting point is that that we have to be honest ourselves, and that's a challenge. Um, when Prabhupada said that this world is a world of cheaters and cheated, and one way of looking at it is that it's not that here are the cheaters and here are the cheated. It's the cheaters, they become the cheated. Uh, if we try to cheat, then the result will be that we will get cheated. I used to say that you cannot cheat an honest man, actually, and it's a fact. If somebody is actually honest, uh, I have anyway. This time is up now. Otherwise, I had a story I could tell. I can tell it. And we'll finish. It's this story from the secular world. There was a infamous gambler in New York. Gambler in the in the later 19th century. His his nickname was Hungry Joe. You can look it up. You can still read the story about Hungry Joe in the Wikipedia, for instance. And he was notorious. He amassed a big fortune by gambling. What he would do is he would just walk the streets of New York, and then when he came upon somebody, he was pretty sharp, and he was able to spot, him, you know, rich people. New York is such a city you can meet famous people on the streets like that. That's one of the uh, characteristics of New York City. So he would meet, he would especially go for, rich people, and he would allure them to take part in gambling, and then he would cheat them, and and he would amass a big fortune in that way. But one time he made a mistake because there was actually a famous industrialist from Britain who had come to New York, and he was checking out the news, so he found out about it. And apparently, this man was so famous that when he met him on the street one day in New York, he recognized him. So he addressed him by name, and this man was naturally so, "Oh, how do you know me?" I mean, it's a good way to gain people's trust if they, if you can give the impression that you know them or you know somebody who knows them. So he said, yeah, yeah, the son of the captain on the ship, he told me about you and blah blah blah, and this way he gained his trust, and they went to somewhere a restaurant or something, and he tried to entice him to gamble. And but this man, he said, no, no, I don't gamble. And then just to taunt him, he said, it's just because you have no money. I don't. So he said, what? I don't have any money? I'll show you how much money I have. He took out his wallet and he showed. But that was Hungry Joe's big mistake. When he did that, he just stuck his hand down into his wallet, grabbed a bunch of notes, ran out the door. And before they knew it, he was gone. They couldn't find him. Later on, they found him actually. He was taken to, how you say, taken to task. He was taken to court. And he actually, before that, they could not catch him. But here he did a mistake. He tried to cheat. And that was my point. And he was actually put in prison. And basically, that was the end of his career as a big time gambler. And so, anyway, uh, yeah, and that's the first thing. We have to actually be honest. We have to be sincere. If we are trying to cheat Krishna, uh, then Krishna will cheat us, and we cannot complain. We have to look into our own hearts and see, am I actually honest? Do I want to become a devotee? Am I serious about, becoming free from anarthas? Do I recognize that I'm a fallen conditioned soul who needs to rectify myself? Am I willing to do the needful to do that, to achieve that? That we should ask ourselves these questions. And if we discover some dishonesty in our hearts, which we probably will, we should be ready to face the internal enemy and do something about it. And if we do that, if we're always willing to accept, one definition of humility is to always consider oneself in need of rectification. So that should be our 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 mood, our constant uh, uh, thinking. We should always think like that. And if we try to think like that, Krishna will protect us. I've seen this, and so I'm convinced. Uh, Hare Krishna. Now time is up, and I will take one or two questions if there are any. But I have some. It's my last evening in Vrindavan, and I still have, unfortunately, some business in Loy Bazaar, so I have to make it relatively short. Prabhuji, what is your name? My name is Anupam Krishna. Anupam Krishna. Yeah. Your name, Prabhu? Gaura Hari. You're from this country. You're always from this country. I'm a Viking from Denmark. Something like that. It was Norway, Denmark. Yeah, yeah. The lecture was very nice. It was Thank you. Based on realization. And I have one question to you, not directly from the scripture so much, but your experience. Yeah. How do you go on if you took initiation or first of that? You took initiation after? Yeah, I did. Yeah. Did you feel after the first case that your connection with Krishna was broken? No. Did not feel that. I actually didn't. No. I never felt it's interesting actually. Now that you say it, that I never felt like that. No. Huh? Why? Well, okay, okay, I get your point. No, I took reinitiation because that's a Shastric injunction. I mean, the long time back, the Shastric Advisory Board, they did some research on behalf of the GBC, and they found this quote from Narahari Thakur, how to behave if one's guru is, as he said, permanently fallen. And his instruction was one should take mantra again. So that still is on the understanding of our leaders. And actually, not so long. Huh? If the second guru, I know one devotee who actually had he had two gurus, and some may have, there are probably others who have had more, three, up to three. But actually, Brajahari, some of you know Brajahari, not Braja Bihari, from, who was who was here in Vrindavan for many years. Very nice devotee. Okay. Uh, I think the key to how to say the what we need to, and that has been more and more, is being stressed more and more in our society. Some 10 years ago, a very important book came out, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, which had it was designated a foundational document, DBC foundational document, authored by Ravindra Swami. And the point of this book is that we must understand what it means that Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya of ISKCON. And we, if we if we understand this, and we understand that everybody and everything in ISKCON has to be seen in relationship with Srila Prabhupada, judged by his standard, uh, judged by how faithfully they are actually representing Srila Prabhupada. Uh, then I think no, that not just I think that is the the, the answer to this question. That Ye- yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a big topic, but the mistake of the Ritviks is that they want to focus only on Srila Prabhupada and just forget about, living gurus. But the problem with that, one problem with that, is that um, Srila Prabhupada, we need somebody who can actually, we can have, who can guide us in a personal way, in a more, we are not on that platform where we can directly speak with Prabhupada. Maybe somebody is on that platform generally, but that's not, you know, uh, you know, the condition of the neophyte that we can, have such. We are not, spiritists. There wasn't. movement in Europe and in the West, Spiritism, where they would have clairvoyants who could communicate with departed spirits. And it was a big thing in Europe in those days. Also earlier on, yeah, it was beginning in the end of the 19th century and going on, and it's still going on. People believe. Huh? People believe. Yeah, yeah, but I, it's probably there's some truth to it. There are many, many. I mean, they even studied it scientifically, and there was very strong evidence. It is possible, but it's not generally, it's not for the common man to do that. We cannot, we cannot, we don't have channelers who can, you know, connect us with Prabhupada in that way. We need a living person who can guide us, And as a beginner, everything is in Prabhupada's books, yes. But the thing is, Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada compared them to a pharmacy. So, in the pharmacy, you find every medicine you need for any disease. But, it doesn't mean that you can just, if you're sick, you just go to the pharmacy, just give me something from your shelf. You need to go to it. He has to diagnose you, he has to give you a prescription, which medicine is for your disease. So I see one way of looking at the living Guru is like that. He's an experienced devotee who has dedicated his life, who has a long experience of, you know, following Prabhupada's teachings under the guidance of his guru. So therefore, he can help you. And out of all, you can any philosophy you want to, not any philosophy, but you can. There are so many apparently contradictory statements in Prabhupada's books. Why is it? Because Prabhupada's books are for all kinds of people in all kinds of situations. So for one person, the instruction is you should take sannyas. For another person, you should get married. So, you find some places Prabhupada says one thing, some places nothing. Which instructions for you? For that, we need an experienced devotee. Help. So that's one thing. We cannot do away with especially for beginners. I took reinitiation, but the devotee that guru who I took shelter of, he left the world. He passed away. So again, I don't have a living spiritual master. But now I've been, in a moment when he passed away, I've been in ISKCON for 25 years. And now it's more 20 or more years has gone by. So I have a little more experience. I still, you know, I still definitely feel that I need to consult devotees, especially senior devotees. And but I also feel that I have some experience to also see for myself, which instructions apply to my situation. Okay. Hare Krishna. I'll end here because, like I said, I have some business. Hare Krishna. Thank you.